What's going on, guys? Welcome to the video. In this video we're going to be doing the final part for How to Win Friends and Influence People summary. It's been a good book. Anyway, let's dive into this. I got little notes here like I always do. The first thing is what everybody wants. Everybody wants attention from others. Some want more attention, some want less. Just depends on who the person is, and it can be a good thing and bad thing, depending on what it is. Anyway, Dale Carnegie thought he said something wrong about somebody. He called the woman who wrote the letter to him that sent the criticism and stuff. He synthesized with her viewpoint, and she did the same thing with him, and they ended up making up about what it was and stuff. It was a broadcast that he done that. She didn't quite understand when she said when he said, where she was from, and it turned out to be right, I believe. The next thing is talk about your own mistakes first. The batter, Josephine, it isn't so difficult to listen to a recital of your faults if the person criticizing begins by humbly admitting that he too is far from right and impeccable. Same thing, right? And stuff. But anyway, let's move on. The next thing is no one likes to take orders. Ask questions, the best way to do it, and give them opportunities to do it themselves, whatever needs to be done, and just let them do it, whether that be something from a job, anything. And the next thing I got is give the person a feeling of importance when you're doing it. It makes them want to cooperate with you instead of just lay out saying, go do this or that and stuff. And anyway, after this is the final one for that part. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing I got. Is just let the other person save face. We ride rough-stood over the feelings of others, getting our own way, finding fault, criticizing someone, etc., etc. A genuine understanding of other person's attitude will go a long ways toward alleviating the sting of whatever it is that I ain't agreeing with and stuff. But this save face, there was a French aviator press pioneer, and he's an author too, Antonio de Saint-Exupéry. He wrote this quote right here: I have no right to say or do anything that diminishes a man in his own eyes. What matters is not what I think of him, but what he thinks of himself. Hurting a man in his dignity is a crime. Yeah, that's so true. Ever since I've seen that, reading this book, it stood out to me the most, for sure. Because if you don't believe in yourself, then you probably can't accomplish what you want. But if you do believe in yourself, you got a whole lot more of a chance to accomplish it than not believing. So that's why it's most important to believe in yourself and whatever it is that you're doing. Next thing I got is how to spur people on to success. Use of praise instead of criticism is the best concept of P.F. Skinner's teachings. I've talked about him a little bit in the past. He was a famous psychologist, the P.F. Skinner box invented that. This psychologist has shown by experiments that with animals and with humans, that when criticism is minimized and praise emphasized, the good things will be reinforced, and the poor things will atrophy for a lack of attention. They just forget about them. The praise is what stands out the most. Charles Dickens, who ended up being a famous writer, he wanted to be at the start, right? His father went to jail because he couldn't pay debt that Charles accumulated when he went to school. And Charles ended up working in warehouses that was infested with rats and stuff, making things. And the praise he got through getting one story in print changed his whole life. There was one publisher, well, he lived in England, and I believe it was London. There was a publisher there that giving him praise, and that was the one that ended up letting him publish it, and that turned out to spew his success up, and it took off from there. And the best thing to do is to praise the slightest improvement that anyone does that you see. That can mean, say you play in sports and somebody scores on your team, congratulate them even if you're ahead by a good amount. So if it makes them feel good about themselves, and they're more likely to do better as well. That's going to do it for this. I know it was a little short and stuff. Like I said, I get the main points out of the book, and go from there with writing it. I definitely recommend reading this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, by Dale Carnegie. Like I said before, he's a famous self-improvement, I like to say enthusiast, because he was really heavy in the industry on that. Is what he's most famous for. He's got a couple other books, like I've said before, and stuff. It's been a long week. I'm filming this video the day before it goes live on Wednesday night and stuff. But that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed this, be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn notifications on, because I drop a new video every week. I will talk to all y'all in the next video.